Joining me right now on Kumite Radio is Aaron Blackie. He is one of the top guys coming up in Australia. What's going on, Aaron?
Not much. Just enjoying my Sunday afternoon. About to enter fight week and yeah, ready to go.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that because you got a busy month coming up, or actually a busy 2 weeks. I heard a lot about you first from UFC veteran Damian Brown. He's very high on you. How does it feel to have the confidence of an Australian MMA legend like him?
Yeah, look, it definitely helps. He's a very good friend of mine, a very good teammate, and we go way back. And to see your teammate succeeding in that, it sort of reaffirms that you're doing the right things and you got the right people around you and all those sort of things, which definitely makes a big difference. So yeah, it's great.
You can fight at bantamweight, but lately you've been fighting at featherweight. What are the key differences in your performance at those different weight classes?
Look, bantamweight is a massive cut for me. It's a massive cut. Obviously, I've done it, so I can do it. But I want to fight super regularly. I was working full time as a high school teacher before this year, and I really made the decision coming off some bad injuries and a few years out because of those injuries to give it, all I can, be all I can be, and I want to fight regularly. And I think, I'm fighting back to back 2 weeks. I actually had another fight that was meant to be last weekend that fell through a few weeks ago. But lining them up like that, featherweight, I can make the weight easily, square it away, and fight regularly. So that's really the deciding factor right now.
You said coming into this year you quit your job as a teacher to pursue fighting full time. Was it that a very difficult choice to make?
Look, for me, no. I grew up doing judo and martial arts and loved it. And my father did martial arts, my brother does martial arts, and I love and always wanted to pursue it with everything I've got, and I always did. But I sort of found it in my last year of uni is when I sort of had these three knee surgeries, and I wasn't able to fight. So it was very fortunate that I had completed my degree and could slip into working full time and earning some good money in that at the time. Because otherwise I don't know what I would have done for those couple of years. But certainly, I wasn't working full time as a teacher because I'd chosen to, I don't know, pursue money or financial stability over this dream. This dream was always the priority, and yeah, that just sort of happened. And glad it did. Learned so much while teaching and got a lot out of it. But back on the road. So here we are.
Now going back, Eternal MMA 35, you dropped a split decision to Sam Hibbard, your first professional setback. What was your opinion on the decision and the fight overall?
Yeah, look, I will make no excuses throughout my career. I lost a split decision, whatever. I find there nothing meaningful, nothing to be gained from looking at how judges scored a fight at the end. So I don't go there. I haven't gone there. But personally, I learned a hell of a lot from it. It was great to just go. I'd never been out of the first round before then. So now I went the whole time. It was awesome. I took some big shots, and to be honest, I was very unhappy with how I felt I performed. I feel that I've got far more skills than I displayed that night. But in knowing that, and knowing that even performing, that poorly, and there's a few things that I've changed and adjusted and thought about it as to why that occurred, and I'm sure it won't happen again. But that gives you a crazy confidence when you know that even at your worst, it's still, I hung in there, and I did that heart thing. It's easy to go in there and fight and take people out in a couple of minutes. That's not what it's about. And the fight is about the fight, and that sort of learning. And that is, as a man, a martial artist, that's what it's all about. So it was a beautiful thing, and we'll only move forward. And I'm going to show people in the next couple of weeks, those skills again, and it'll be a reversion to the past fighter. So we'll see.
I think in the third round, you almost finished the fight. You almost got your first TKO finish of your career. At that point, did you feel like, your tank was empty, or that guy was just really, really tough?
Yeah, look, he was tough. He was a tough, and he is a good fighter on his own. Absolutely. I've spent a lot of time working with Steve and Elliot Compton over at Team Compton Training Centre, working on the striking and that. And yeah, that obviously did show because, again, growing up training with Dan Higgins, we're submission specialists and that in MMA context. But yeah, all my wins have come by submission before that. So to land some big shots and to, be able to feel someone sort of feeling those shots and going down and not being able to take them in the third round, again, that's a massive thing for the confidence, because when you got the grappling squared away and looking like the hands are getting there, there's not much else that you really need to think about except for going in there and doing your thing. So.
I'm pretty sure everybody's wondering how come they didn't set up the rematch for this upcoming event. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, look, I don't know, no. And at first, of course, it's like, oh yeah, I want a rematch, yeah. But what Steve Compton said to me is, that's not what it's about. He beat me on that night. Excellent. He beat me. We'll learn from it. We'll move on. And if we cross paths again, I'm going to keep moving forward. If he keeps moving forward, maybe we'll cross paths, at some higher level. Maybe we'll fight for the belt or something. Who knows? But going after that's not the goal. The goal's after learning, improving, going out there, testing it, retesting it. That's what it's all about. So if it happens, it happens. But as for chasing after it, we're looking beyond that. So yeah, that's our take.
Well, you're going to be on the next card, Eternal 36. You're facing Jordan Wallace. What do you know about him?
He's 2-2. I think one of his wins by decision, one's by TKO knees in the second round. Both of his losses are also by TKO strikes on the ground. So he's, looking at him, very, very good fundamentals, very good balance. Stays nice and tight. Seems to be a simple but squared away game, which I think is really effective. I think that's the way to go in MMA, and looks very athletic. So again, we'll see how it goes. Got a bit of a right hand to look out for, and yeah, my game plan as always is to land some shots, set up those takedowns, and keep advancing. Position, getting more and more dominant, more and more control, and then damage and submissions when they're there. So that doesn't really change. That's sort of a blueprint for my style. And then just adjustments for the opponent. They strong wrestlers or are they strong strikers? How do we need to, sort of focus on in camp and areas to avoid?
You mentioned earlier that he lost twice on the ground via strikes. So if you do a little bit of MMA math, you think that he lacks ground skills because he can't get out of that mount position. Do you see a big opening on the mat for you to take advantage of?
Yeah, look, I do. Look, from exactly what you said. That apparent weakness in his game does line up with my apparent strength. I'm sure he's looking at my last fight and going, I didn't take Sam down against the cage. Well, I took him down a few times, but he got right back up. And I think that, from his camp's point of view, tactically, that they'll be looking to play the same game, which was a very smart game. But I do think I can hit those takedowns against the cage, and I think that was me making some errors and some things there. So we'll see how it goes. But I think right on there.
Exactly 2 weeks after Eternal 36, you'll be competing for the featherweight title at Aftershock 30. How did this fight come together?
Yep, so all year I've just been messaging promoters saying, look, you got fights, and they give me the names, I say, yep, and then heap of them fall through, and, some of them don't. So the other ones that I fight. So same thing here, send out the messages, this one come through. It's against Jesse Medina, who I actually fought. It was the last fight before I went into surgery years ago, and he went on to do some really good things. I think he won a couple of belts. I think he was ranked number 2 or something at lightweight in the country for a little while, and yeah, great fighter. So for me, that's awesome, because that's the point where that was definitely a big epoch in my life. Taking a few years out from me out of training and going, that was a big thing, and to be able to come back now and test myself against someone who I had fought back then, I really look forward to that. Look at how he's grown, how I've grown, and see how we go.
Yeah, you mentioned you beat him before. You submitted him in the first round back in 2015 at lightweight. Now you're facing him at featherweight. There are many unique dynamics to this matchup. What interests you the most about the rematch?
Well, look, he's a very skilled fighter, very composed. I think has very nice technique, which I love. Real martial arts, very efficient, economical in his movements, and looks very sharp and skilled all round. But like I said, it is the fact that we have fought before. Before I went through, all of these, challenges with the, recovery and that type of thing, and that's what draws me to it the most because it's a very sort of objective test. It's like, yeah, well, here's a guy. It was that same time. Let's see how he's grown, see how I've grown, and yeah, do it again in a couple of years. So yeah, look forward to it.
In your last fight, you showed a much improved striking arsenal. You work at Team Compton Training Centre, but where are some other spots you train at?
Yep. So my coach since I've been a teenager is Dan Higgins, and I train out of that. He's got his garage set up. He likes to do his own thing. Real to the core martial artist, and it's always art first. And as with the Comptons, and they've got their studio and their friends, and they go way back, and it's very mutual benefit and all that between. It's a great relationship. So yeah, between there and then my roommate, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and he has his own gym just around the corner, Bros Jiu-Jitsu. So I also train a lot with him and our brothers and all that sort of thing through the day. So between those three teams, yeah, we've got a good thing going and yeah, all help each other out. And, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like nowadays you cannot just train at one gym. You have to be cross-training, seeing different looks. How beneficial is that for you? Like at what level?
Yeah, look, I think that it kind of sucks, but I think you're right in terms of like skill development. You need expert coaching, feedback immediately, and that small group, that boxing blueprint. Boxing's been around a lot longer at a professional level. People making good money. People going, how can we do this better? How can we put things under the microscope, analyze, evaluate, come up with solutions? And it seems to be smaller groups is the dynamic. You know what I mean? So this big class thing, and maybe the first few years, general knowledge, the general pyramid of what critical thinking. You need knowledge and understanding before you can start analyzing and evaluating. Without that base, there's no point. You don't know what parts you're playing with. But once you've got that base, I think, yeah, you do need to dissect things, deconstruct things, and put them back together. And that's certainly more effective in those smaller environments, which, yeah, we're lucky to really have.
How has working with the elite staff at Compton elevated your stand-up skills?
Yeah, look, they are just not only real true martial artists, but very very intelligent people. Steve and Elliot Compton, and the way that they can adapt certainly. My specialist style, like that. It's not just here's a blueprint. Boom, boom, boom. You do this. You do this. You do this. You do this. It's like no. What do you like doing? Like, there's a conversation like how does that feel, and then all these ideas, and then you can sort of take what is useful and remove what's not for me. And obviously Steve Compton, Dan Higgins, my coach, have a very good relationship. So they're always talking, and they can go, "Oh, we saw this. Can you have a look at this?" And their strengths complement each other, in an outstanding way. They're both highly skilled in the other area as well. Like they both have an excellent understanding of all components of mixed martial arts. I think particularly in the striking world, it's super rare to. Steve Compton's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So how many people do you find that have that sort of knowledge pedigree, but also understand that no, you can't just stand there throwing teep kicks because you're going to get taken down. You know what I mean? So it's very lucky, very fortunate position where I am right now.
Of course, you want to get these 2 wins in the next couple of weeks. By the end of the month, what kind of performances would you like to have?
Yeah, so I want to showcase my skills. So I want to go out there. I want to perform. I want to show everything. I want to show the stand up. I want to show the setups into the takedowns. And clean, I think is a great adjective of good technique. I think if you can hit clean takedowns and then clean strikes and that, that's for me that's a big goal. It feels clean. You feel it's not so. There's times for that obviously, and it's not always unavoidable. But nice clean demonstrations of all round skills. That's my goal, and yeah, get the 2 wins, obviously by finishes. Whenever that happens, that happens. Not too set on that, but yeah, that would be the ideal outcome, and then start looking for the next one.
All right, Aaron Blackie, thank you for your time. If you want to watch Aaron fight, September 15th, Eternal MMA 36, and then on September 29th, Aftershock 30, featherweight title versus Jesse Medina. Thank you, Aaron, man.
That's us. No worries, man. Thank you.